Big Sife.
Fat Man Scoop, Brooklyn Clan. What's up, y'all? This is Fat Man Scoop. And right now, you watching the sensei, the number one, the king, my dude, Big Brando. He taught me, personally, me, Fat Man Scoop. All you gotta do is keep your mouth closed and your ears open. Listen to the man talk. That's knowledge personified right there. And I wouldn't trust nobody else but my dude, Big Brando. And I said it. Fat Man Scoop, Big Brando. Let's go.
What's happening, everybody? Boy Big Brando, and today let's talk about vending live at an event. Now, I recently posted a video talking about myself getting back out here and vending at night markets, festivals, concert shows, because LA has opened up and they brought back live events again. Now, it's been 2 years since I've been out slanging t-shirts to the people. And in that video, the comments section lit up with some really good questions. People wanted to know how they could find out about live events and night markets to sell clothes at. And then people also wanted to know, how do I build out my booths? How much inventory do I bring? Any tips and tricks when it comes to actual vending? Now, like I mentioned in that video, follow me on Instagram. Not to get my followers up, but because I share information about local events looking for vendors. There's a few different organizations that always post when they're looking for vendors for a certain event. I share that information with everybody. There's a small disclaimer though, this is local to Los Angeles or Southern California to be exact, but that shouldn't stop you, because I've had people come up from San Diego to Los Angeles or come down from San Francisco and San Jose down to Los Angeles to vend at some of these events. I've also had people come from Arizona, Vegas, and Utah to do the same exact thing. But outside of following me on Instagram at Big Brando TV to find out this information, you can always do it on your own by going to your local city hall. Now, for whatever reason, people are scared to go to city hall or they think they don't have any information, but city hall is aware of every event happening in the city. Some of these night markets require them shutting down streets. Obviously, you go to the city to shut down the streets so they know these events are happening and they have all the information you need. Who's hosting the event? The vendor contact information. Sometimes they have the application there. And if you didn't want to walk into your local city hall, look them up on the internet. I'm pretty sure they have a calendar on there with every event coming up. This would be a good place for you to start if you're looking for local events to vend at. Now, outside of that, you can always follow a lot of different clubs on Instagram or social media, because a lot of these clubs are doing fundraisers. A lot of the clubs are hosting the events. A lot of the clubs are involved with certain events, so they share the information. Youth service organizations, service clubs, and even clubs that have venues like VFWs and Moose Lodge, Elks Lodge, Knights of Columbus. These places that have halls that they rent out usually have craft fairs. They usually have night markets. They usually have carnivals and fairs. So these are more opportunities for you to get a vendor booth at. Now, some people are like, man, I don't want to do night markets. I want to do concerts. I want to do festivals. I want to do shows. I want to do big events like this. Anytime you see a flyer for a festival, for a concert, for a show of this size, there's either contact information on the flyer, or the flyer will say blah 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 presents whatever the name of the showcase is. So whatever blah 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 is, you hit them up directly. They're the ones organizing and hosting the event. They're the ones you would contact to get a vendor booth. They're the ones that would provide the information for you. Look them up, send them an email, send them a DM, send them a comment, and get more information for you. There's a lot of people that just sit around and wait for the opportunity to fall in their lap. If you wanted to get out here and start vending, if you want to get out here and start selling your merch, your t-shirts, your products, you got to put in the legwork. This is how I find all the shows that I do. Maybe I was a customer at one of these shows. Maybe I went to a show and was like, man, it'd be cool to vend here. So the following year when the event's coming up, I reach out to the people organizing the event and apply to be a vendor. That's it. There's no secret sauce involved. There's no secret handshake. All it is me reaching out to the organizer and asking if I could be a vendor. I want to know what the fees are. I want to know the size of the booth. I want to know how long the event is, when I can come and set up, when I have to break down and be out of there. I want to know what the foot traffic's going to be like. This is information that I ask the organizer before I even decide to vend somewhere, just to make sure it's going to be worth my while. Now, outside of that, let's talk about booth buildup. This is where you let your creativity run wild. Now, for myself, I made a ton of mistakes when I used to vend out in public. Over the years, I've kind of polished up the way I do things, but every single year, every single event, I make small improvements because of lesson learned from the previous event that I did. So one thing that you do got to remember is booth size is always going to be different. A lot of people think it's going to be a standard size. Sometimes they might just give you a 6-foot table. Sometimes it might be a 10 by 10. Sometimes it might be a 10 by 20. Sometimes it might be 12 by 12. It all depends. So you have to be able to adapt to whatever size is available. Outside of that, you have to think, do you want people to walk up to a table? Do you want to invite people into the booth? Do you just want people to be on the perimeter of the booth? Or do you want it set up where they can walk in and physically touch everything? One of my homeboys that I vend with a lot, the homie Dave, he runs Local Roots Clothing. If you've ever been to any event that I've done, chances are he was right next to me, either in the booth right next to me, or sharing a booth with me, or sharing a table with me, or across from me. But I would say 95% of the time I vend at an event, the homie Dave is vending at that same exact event. Now, the reason I bring this up is because he is sharp when it comes to booth build out, product placement, understanding how to engage with the customer. I learn a lot from him. He's been doing it for a long time, and his thought process is something that I feed off of. So for an example, when I was selling hats at an event, I thought I was doing it big by getting little fake mannequin heads, like the little foam ones, and putting the hats on and laying them on my table. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. It's better than just laying them flat on the table. Cool. But the homie Dave understood how important product placement was. What he did was he went out and bought some wooden crates, stacked up the crates a certain way so it kind of looks like steps, and it raised the hats up higher to a more eye-level view for the customer. He added texture to the table, and we're just working based off of a 6-foot table here and making those minor adjustments by raising up some of his products so they're not just flat on the table made all the difference. So the crate idea was good, something that I didn't think of. And then on top of that, when we vended at night, I was relying on the ambient light that was around. What he did was he popped in these little battery powered lights into the crates, put the hat inside the crate, and now the hat is lit up, and this is nighttime. Those lights attract people to his table. He killed. The configuration can change every day. Same goes for when we do these 2-3 day events. We'll set the booth up a certain way. If things don't really work out that following day, Dave is in the booth reorganizing, rearranging the booth to make it more engaging to the customer. For myself, I probably would have just left it and just took the gamble. So these types of things right here are things that you have to constantly remember when you're out vending. If something didn't work one day, switch it up, change it up the next day. If it's not a 2-day event, if something didn't work at this event, switch it up so the next event that you do, you have lessons learned. Another good example, and somebody you could really look into and ask questions and gain a lot of knowledge from, is the homie Dizmajiz. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook, every social media platform under Dizmajiz. But that dude is a vending beast. This is his livelihood. This is his full-time gig. He makes 100% of his money out here doing shows. Whether it's a Comic-Con, whether it's retro toys, doesn't matter what the event is. Dude's out there killing. I even think he has an ebook based around how to vend at a show with like tips and tricks. And when I first read the ebook, there were so many things that I was missing out on. That was an eye-opener to myself. So if that book is still available, I'll leave all the information in the description box for you. But I highly suggest you follow that man now. He goes over everything from booth build out, customer engagement, and he's a DIY guy. He makes his own step and repeats, makes his own tablecloths, makes his own displays, got LEDs all over the table, product placement, signage, customer takeaways, all of that stuff is covered. He's a huge pillar within the Facebook group that we have, especially when it comes to vending. He's a dope graphic designer, but when it comes to vending, dude knows everything. Really, really good source of information right there. Now, when it comes to inventory, this is very subjective. What I like to do, and this is a personal thing of mine, is I like to know who's going to be at the show. I like to know that my target audience is going to be there for what I'm selling, and then I go based off of the actual clientele and the foot traffic that will be there. For example, every year I vend at one of the biggest Hawaiian festivals here in the South Bay. People come from all over for this event. It's a weekend long event. Food, vendors, entertainment, live music. It's crazy. I've been going to this event since I was a kid. Now I've been vending at this event for, I don't know, the last 10 years or so, maybe even longer. So the demographic, I understand who's going to be there. I bring the appropriate products for the actual customers that are going to be there. We're talking Hawaiians, Tongans, Samoans. They're here at this event in this park. So size-wise, if we're basing it off of the Polynesian clientele that's going to be there, I know I'm going to stock up on the bigger sizes, extra large, double X, triple X. tank tops are a must. I understand because that's what I wear, that's what I do also. It wouldn't benefit me if I went heavy on small and mediums based on the clientele that's gonna be at this event. So I make sure I cater to the people that are gonna be at this event. This is how I do my inventory. I don't press live, I pre-press everything, throw it into these totes by size, and what I got is what I got. If I sell out of something, then I start pushing the online store. So when somebody says, hey, do you got this in a 3X? I'm like, man, I'm all sold out right now, but check it out. Here's a discount code. You can pick it up online, and there's more options online also. That's all it is. A lot of people always freak out and they're like, man, I don't want to sell out of stuff. I want to make sure I got everything. But if you're selling out of stuff, it's a good sign. That means you got a good product. So selling the online store now is an easy call. But what I do is I just tack on a little discount code for them. Like, hey, you know what? Thanks for being interested in this 3X t-shirt. You can find it online. Here's a little 10%, 15% off. And then I make the discount code native to the festival or the event that I'm at. This is just the way that I work. These are the things that I do. Is it the only way to operate? No. Is it the best way to operate? Who knows? This is the best way that works for me. So just as a recap, if you were looking for places to vend at, or you wanted to be a vendor, or you wanted to get a vendor booth at a certain festival or night market or event, follow me on Instagram because I share a lot of this information, especially when people are looking for vendors. But once again, it is local to Southern California. Outside of that, hit up your local city hall. Man, you could probably hit up a bunch of different city halls, all the neighboring cities around you, to get more information on all these events. Follow the clubs online. Check out Local Roots Clothing. Check out the homie Dizmajiz for ideas on how to do booth build outs and get more vendor info. I'll find the link for Diz's ebook if he still has it, put it in the description box, and then know the clientele that's gonna be at this event. So that way you could pack accordingly, you could bring the correct inventory, and you could cater to the audience that'll be there at this event, all right? Hopefully this answered people's questions out there. Hopefully you gained something from this video. If you got any questions, leave it in the comments. Follow me on Instagram, Big Brando TV. Catch you guys on the next one, man. Yeah.